Good morning. I'm Karita Parks with the Fairfax County Health and Human Services System, and we are here at ICF International for the first ever Innovation Challenge. Sorry about that. Also joining me today is Tom Goodwin. He's a member of the Human Services Council, and he's going to talk to us a little bit more about the Innovation Challenge. But before we get to Tom, let us know in the comments or give us a like. Let us know, do you know what the Innovation Challenge is? So Tom, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about the Innovation Challenge and what we're doing here today.
Sure, Karita. In a nutshell, the Innovation Challenge is a conference. But in the bigger picture, it's rooted in the belief that, that Fairfax County can only be as economically strong and vibrant as the individual financial strength and health of each and every one of our residents. Not everyone is on an equal playing field when it comes to that. And so for many, many years, Fairfax County, along with a number of nonprofits and some private philanthropists, have put together and support a broad range of human services programs for the elderly, transportation, for the disabled, child care for kids, and so on. A whole range of human services programs. These programs are not inexpensive, and as our county has grown, and as the population has gotten more diverse, and we speak more languages now, and as our county population has aged, the challenges have become more difficult and more expensive. We don't have as much money we don't have money to throw at all these problems. So the Innovation Challenge is an effort to find out, are there ways that we can deliver vital human services to people who need them, when they need them, in a different way than we've been doing before. And that involves bringing together different people in the community, some of whom we like to call unusual suspects, people that are not accustomed to working in the human services field, businesses who ought to, for example, be interested in realizing, and I think many of them do, that when kids get a good lunch at school, they're likely to do better, even to the point of graduating from high school. Those numbers go up, the statistics go up, we know that. So the business community is interested in that intellectually. How can we bring them in to contribute and participate in the overall program? So this is a discussion. We call it the challenge, the Innovation Challenge. We call it that for a reason. It's because we're still thinking our way through the many different approaches that we can take. But here today, you're going to find representatives of the Chambers of Commerce. You're going to find our political leaders. 4 members of the Board of Supervisors are here this morning. You're going to find leaders in academia from George Mason, from UVA. The Hokies, Virginia Tech is here today. You're going to find people from the Community Foundation and philanthropists, and you're also going to hear and see information from social entrepreneurs. These are startup companies that are very interested in making a profit by providing services to people in need. That's a very long answer, but it's a big picture.
Right, so I just want to talk a little bit more about the partners that you were able to bring in. So today's theme is collective impact for sustainable change.
Yes.
And you said that this is really rooted in community engagement. So can you elaborate a little bit more on the partnerships and the importance of community engagement?
Collective impact is a term that's used very broadly across the United States, and it simply means when a group of people, organizations, businesses, and others get together, they can make stuff happen. That's what collective impact means. And there are many examples of good works that are being done when diverse organizations come together. It's not a new, well, it's a relatively new concept, but it's not an untested one. There's a lot of examples. For us here in Fairfax County, we're not quite at the point yet where collective impact has taken on real substantive meaning. And so we're approaching it from the angle of community engagement. That's why we make a big deal about it here, is because we realize that only if we get everybody's attention and say, hey, you know, you may not be thinking about human services, you may not be thinking about childcare, you may not be thinking about school lunches, but hey, you do have a stake in it, because to the extent that that kid has good nutrition and graduates from high school, that's good for us. Why? She's going to pay taxes, she's going to have a job, she's going to be safe, she's going to be healthy. So bringing everybody together in a sense of community engagement can help lead to the collective impact, which can bring about the real results.
Okay, great. And you're talking about all of these challenges that are in the community. Now, a lot of those were born from something called the Human Services Needs Assessment. Yes. Can you talk a little bit about how the Needs Assessment is tied into this event and was a little bit of a catalyst?
Of course. The Needs Assessment drives this event, and it drives the Innovation Challenge. It's, in a nutshell, it's a book. It's a report that a group of citizens, knowledgeable people who've been working in human services for many, many years, sat down and they took a look at the broad range of services that Fairfax County provides, and they said, oh my goodness, look at this, we do this, we do this, we do this, we provide transportation for people in need, we do this, we do this, we do this. How's it working? And we discovered that for the most part it's working pretty well. The commitment is very strong, but because of some of the phenomenon that I reported to you earlier, aging population, people speaking different languages, home ownership rates are down. There's growing inequality that's not just racial but also social and economic inequality in Fairfax County. These are challenges. This is something we're going to have to do with. We're going to have to deal with. And we're not going to get any more money from the taxpayers to do it. We're going to have to make do with what we have now. Well, the obvious question is there a different way of doing business? We think so, and that's what we're trying to find out.
Okay, so just to tag on to the different way of doing business. So a really exciting portion of this event, which is happening a little later, is the reverse pitch.
Reverse pitch, yes.
Yes, can you explain what the reverse pitch
Sure.
is and what we're looking to accomplish with that, and maybe just mention some of the participants?
Sure, a reverse pitch is really nothing more than a way to describe a new way of transacting business and discussing and trying to solve a problem. Traditionally, the way problems would be solved would be the government would say, okay, we need to do this in the homeless area. We need to provide shelter for this many people, and we need to make sure that our shelters are operating and that families can be safe in the homeless shelters. And they would write up a contract proposal or a request for proposal or a request for information, very bureaucratic. But it's very common, everybody understands what it is if they participate in that area. And they would put it out, and then somebody, a provider, like for example Shelter House, which is a leading provider of services to the homeless and to victims and survivors of domestic violence, they would look at that contract and would say, okay, I think we can do these things, and they would bid on it, and maybe they would win the contract. The reverse pitch would be a situation in which Fairfax County would say, we've got this many shelters and we've got these many people who are homeless and they're coming here and we're not really sure how we can manage the load and we're not really sure we know how to do it. Can you help us? And it's not specific and it's not written. Now there's obviously going to be some parameters because you're going to have to measure the work.
Yes.
But the idea of the reverse pitch is that then let's pretend that I'm the person who wants to do the work. I'm going to go, wow, I wonder if they tried this instead of that. I wonder if they tried this instead of that. And then I would propose it back to the county, and if the county thought that it was good and it could be doable, they might accept it. That's the idea of the reverse pitch.
Thank you so much. And I know today is the first of what we're hoping to be a series of events or conversations. But today, what is it that you want people to walk away with?
Oh,
What
sure.
is that next step or that action?
We're starting a conversation. All across America, there are communities that are doing what we are talking about doing. They are successfully running and delivering human services, valuable human services to people in need all across the country, drawing from a variety of resources. This is not charity, this is not donations. These are businesses that are engaged in helping and providing human services and making a profit doing it. These are philanthropists who are targeting their funds towards outcome-driven programs. They're not just throwing their money at it. Here in Fairfax County, we're not that far along yet, but there's a lot of smart people in the room who do understand what we're talking about. And so our goal today, bring those people together, see what comes out of it. I've already got 11 business cards, and we've only just started.
That's
from
great.
people who want to talk more, and I'm sure there will be more as it goes on. So we're really starting a conversation.
That's great, and a huge part of this is networking. Before I wrap up, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I know we're talking about human services, but that also ties into the economic success of the county.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, sure. I think that's really where we start. I mean, I think that the challenge that we as people face, every single one of us, including me, is that we don't walk around each day on the street going, boy, you know, the security, the safety, the fun, the affluence, the services, the parks and recreation, everything that I enjoy here in Fairfax County is directly dependent upon the ability of every person to achieve their full maximum potential. So I think we should help all those people. We don't walk around thinking that way, but that is in fact the way of the world. unless and until each and every one of us has an opportunity to fulfill our maximum potential. We're not talking about free rides, we're not talking about hands up, we're talking about opportunity to achieve their maximum potential. Then Fairfax County is not going to be as economically strong and vibrant as we want it to be. It's not going to be as safe as we want it to be. It's not going to be as healthy as we want it to be. But it can be done. This is not a pipe dream. It can be done, and we're going to try and do it.
Great, great. And that's very important because everyone thrives in that situation. So for our viewers, I asked them earlier if they knew about the Innovation Challenge. Hopefully they engaged. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. But what can they do if they want to get involved and they're not here today and this is their first time hearing about the Innovation Challenge?
Well, we're going to figure out, Karita, we're going to try and figure out how to disseminate the information. But right now, if you go to Fairfax County's website and you go into Human Services Council, that's Human Services Council. We are a citizen volunteer organization that's formed to advise Fairfax County, all citizens on the panel. We have a web page, and on the web page it describes who the council is and what we do and what human services are provided. It also has relevant information about the Innovation Challenge. It has the reports on which this conference is based, and originally it has some white papers that have talked about things that we have learned, and it also has some links to some other helpful sites. So that's the Human Services Council page on the Fairfax County website.
Yes, and another way to find it is the Fairfax County website and by searching for the Innovation Challenge. So Tom, thank you so much for joining us today, and this has been a very successful event, so congratulations to you and the council.
We're just getting started.
Yes,
thank you.
Great, great. Also, if you want to follow us on Twitter and learn more about what's happening today, we do have a hashtag. It's hashtag Innovation Fairfax. So follow that hashtag and you can learn more about what's happening here today. So thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.